It was a bright Saturday afternoon in New York City. The famous Starlight restaurant was buzzing with noise, laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the sweet smell of roasted chicken and spices. At one of the corner tables sat a middle-aged African woman named Amara. She wore a simple blue dress, a clean white scarf, and had kind, patient eyes that watched everything quietly. Across the room, a loud group of businessmen entered the restaurant. They were well-dressed, full of perfume and pride, and led by a man named Mr. Roberts, a wealthy real estate tycoon known for his arrogance. He had money, power, and an ego to match. The waiters rushed to find them a table while other customers stared in admiration. Everyone except Amara, who calmly continued eating her meal. As the men sat down, Mr. Roberts noticed her. Perhaps it was her calmness that annoyed him, or the way she didn't seem impressed by his presence. Whatever it was, his pride couldn't handle being ignored. He leaned over to the waiter and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Hey, give everyone in this restaurant a glass of the finest wine, except that woman in the corner." The waiter looked uncomfortable but obeyed. Soon, glasses were raised and laughter filled the air. Everyone drank except Amara, who simply looked up, smiled politely, and said, "Thank you, sir." The room went quiet for a second. People waited for her to be angry, to say something sharp, but she just smiled and went back to her meal. Mr. Roberts frowned. "What did she say?" he whispered to one of his friends. "She said thank you," the friend replied, half laughing. The rich man's face turned red. He wasn't used to being ignored or thanked when he meant to insult someone. Determined to prove a point, he waved his hand again. "Waiter, bring dinner. The best steak, salads, desserts. For every table here. Everyone eats on me except that woman." The waiter hesitated. "Sir, are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure," Roberts shouted. "Everyone but her." Once again, the room filled with excitement. Free food arrived, plates steaming, people cheering. But when the waiter reached Amara's table, she looked up at him and said softly, "Please thank the gentleman for his kindness." The waiter smiled shyly. "You're not angry, ma'am?" Amara shook her head. "Why would I be angry? Sometimes people spend their money trying to hurt others, but God has a different plan." Her words reached Mr. Roberts's ears, and that made him furious. He slammed his glass on the table and stood up. "Who do you think you are, lady?" he yelled across the room. "You think you're better than me? You think your little words mean anything?" Amara didn't reply. She just sipped her water quietly. "Tell me," Roberts continued. "What are you even doing here? This place is expensive. You don't look like someone who can afford it." The restaurant fell silent. Everyone stared at her, expecting tears or anger. But Amara simply smiled, wiped her hands with a napkin, and said calmly, "Sir, I'm not here to compete with anyone. I'm just here to check how my restaurant is running." Mr. Roberts froze. "You're... what?" Amara stood up and faced him fully for the first time. "Yes," she said gently. "I own this place. Golden Plate Restaurant belongs to me. I come here once in a while to see how my staff treats people." Whispers filled the room. The waiters suddenly stood straighter. Even the manager, standing near the counter, looked embarrassed. Amara continued, "I opened this restaurant 10 years ago after saving every dollar I earned from cleaning offices like yours. It took time, patience, and faith. I don't blame you, sir. Some people forget that not every rich person looks the same, and not every quiet person is poor." The entire room was silent. Mr. Roberts's friends lowered their eyes. The once arrogant man now looked small, his pride crushed not by shouting or insults, but by calm truth. Amara smiled kindly. "Next time you want to show power," she said softly, "show kindness. It lasts longer." Mr. Roberts swallowed hard. I'm sorry," he whispered. "There's no need," Amara said. "Your money helped me today. Everyone here enjoyed their meal and they'll remember this day. Maybe they'll also learn something about respect." As she turned to leave, people clapped quietly. not out of pity but out of admiration. The applause grew louder until the whole restaurant echoed with it. Amara nodded politely and walked out into the bright afternoon sunlight. Outside, she looked up at the sky and smiled. "God," she whispered, "thank you for turning humiliation into honor once again." Moral lessons. 1. Life has a strange way of balancing things. 2. When people try to bring you down, stay calm. 3. Don't fight hate with hate. 4. Sometimes your peace and dignity will do more damage to their pride than anger ever could. 5. Those who try to humiliate you may not know that you hold quiet power in your work, your faith, or your heart. 6. Let your success speak for you. 7. Let your calmness be your weapon. May your enemies, without realizing it, help lift you higher. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful life stories every week that teach wisdom, humility, and kindness. Leave a comment below. What lesson did you learn from this story? Until next time, stay kind, stay humble, and remember, what's meant for you will always find its way.